Now, we all remember Sue Gray, the former Cabinet Secretary, who, after she completed her report into those Whitehall parties under various COVID restrictions, became Sir Keir Starmer's Chief of Staff. It was, of course, at the time a controversial appointment, given that the party political nature of her new role. Well, ahead of the general election next week, it's been reported that Miss Gray is considering shuttering all those watering holes in Parliament, in a bid to keep the potential swathe of new Labour MPs from entering the Commons less than under control. It comes as the drinking culture in Parliament has long been under scrutiny, after a watchdog report last year said that bars in the Commons sometimes led to incidents involving intimidating behaviour. Well, still with me is my panel, Stella, Tsantekidou and Kelvin, MacKenzie. Kelvin, Parliament has had a drinking culture for a long time, but it doesn't always have to lead into intimidation or some of the nastier elements of politics and the sleaze that we've seen in recent years. What do you make of the idea of just closing all the bars?
Well, if they did close the bars, they could open up betting shops and make it rather easier for both sides to put the bets on how long a speech was going to last. Yeah. Who was the biggest rat in the House of Commons? Look, they are supposed to be hugely intelligent people, right? The idea of getting smashed every night while they're hanging around. Why don't they just change the manner in which votes take place so that people... Why don't they just end... Why don't they do what everybody else does? Why don't they just end the day at, say, 6 o'clock or something like that and just let people vote for another day?
No, you can't take away late-night sittings. That's
that's the only reason why everybody goes on the sauce all the time, because there's hours to kill and therefore they all turn to drink.
But isn't this just looking at people precisely the wrong way? Stella, what does it say about what Sue Gray thinks the new intake of Labour MPs will be like? If she expects inevitable scandal if they enter a bar?
She doesn't expect inevitable scandal. She just looks at Partygate and says, OK, nobody wants to see a repeat of that. We need to make sure it doesn't happen again. Having said that, Sue Gray doesn't have any actual power over the bars in Parliament, and she didn't say that she's going to do that. She says... It was a bit of a flippant comment.
She's likely the next Chief of Staff to the next Prime Minister.
I don't think she's going to do that. I think that what she said was, I would close down all the bars, because she wanted to show what the priority is going to be, which, to be fair, look, I don't want the bars to close because I do want to have some space where parliamentary staff can socialise with each other, they can network, and, you know, they can speak to MPs in a more relaxed and calm manner. Having said that, do I think people need to drink less in Westminster and, frankly, in the country more general? Yes, absolutely. Please drink less. Stop getting drunk. The country needs you to work.
Yes, see, the whole point about Parliament, it's supposed to be a factory. Right? It's a political... That's what it's supposed to be there for. It's not there to entertain so you can go out with your mates and go on the sauce.
No, it's not. But I think there is a fundamental contentious issue here at the core of what this is. Is Parliament an office? Is it a workplace? Or is it a place of legislation? Are MPs employees or are they members of what was originally a sort of gentleman's club?
They are employees. They're our employees. They are the country's employees. And on that basis, let them go outside. Let them go outside. Who else do you know? You're running the Ford Motor Company, and you know they've shut down all forms of drinking. I can remember when the Daily Mirror used to have a butler type, used to go around the journalists with a whole load of drink on there and saying, "Would you like one?" And all the editors were completely smashed. What happened to the Daily Mirror? In my day, it was 5 million a day. Today, it's selling 200,000. That's what happens if you go on the source.
You can't blame that on alcohol. That's probably more to do with Tim Berners-Lee and the World Wide Web. But Stella, to some extent, this has already happened. There have been bars. John Bercow closed down one of the bars in Parliament and turned it into a nursery. There was a bar up in the Press Gallery in Parliament that has been shut down for 2 decades now, so I'm told. I've been to where it is now desks.
It also made it more expensive. It used to be so cheap.
Well, that is a point about the sort of alleged subsidies that go into all of this. But fundamentally, there are workplaces around the country that do have a moderate, sensible level of drinking. WeWork, as a sort of modern interpretation of this, has beer taps in their communal working spaces.
What happened there? How did that end up? Well, that wasn't a very good example.
It went bust, didn't it?
Well, there was a COVID pandemic.
What I would say, look, it's not a directive, it's not a law. It's an advice. It's an intention. Our intention is to work, is not to get drunk. Yes. I don't think anybody is going to take away the bars. And even if they did, there is a pub right outside Parliament. There is the Red Lion. What are you going to do? You don't have any power over that. I think it's showing the intention. And the intention is to be a serious adult. No more Partygate. Absolutely not. Forget that. Could you imagine having Partygate under Keir Starmer? It would never fly.
Of course, there are restaurants in Parliament as well, so even if all the bars are shut, perhaps the more fancy MPs could just go and get drunk in a slightly more refined way.